Welcome to the Finished Business Podcast. I'm your host, Nick, co-host. We have our Twitter handles down below us. We also have new mics today.
I'm a co-host, Brad, and that's Lance the Vegan.
Here I am. How's it going, guys?
I'm still struggling with not using our full names on the podcast,
Oh, I see.
so that's why I stuttered for a second.
I think we're okay with first names, eh?
First names are fine with me.
Yep.
I mean, I think my full name is on my Twitter, so
If you really wanted to figure mine out, it's out there somewhere.
Well, my last name's on my Twitter, so
that is true.
it's part of my handle.
You're done, mate. The hackers have already won, leading us to our subject.
Oh, what a
Oh,
segue!
man.
We're talking about computer hacking today. Nick, do you know anything about computer hacking?
Yes. No, I don't know how to computer hack.
Well, here's the thing: you don't know how to computer hack, but do you know what computer hacking is?
I'm a little familiar. I know that there's DDoS attacks that happen frequently.
Okay,
We can talk about that because Lance and I know about that.
no problem.
Like, know how it works and stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Fairly easy one to accomplish, but a lot of like bigger websites and even smaller websites nowadays have very good protection against that. So
yeah.
Doesn't
There
do
are
a whole lot of good.
companies specifically made for the taking on traffic from.
absolutely.
Yes. But are you going to start with our news bit today?
Oh yeah, so
Yeah.
current
What's the news?
current events. I like to look up stuff and talk about them. So the first thing I want to talk about is, did you guys hear about the BMW M3 owner that was purchasing a new clutch from Amazon, and he ended up getting a Formula One race car clutch
Sweet.
by accident?
Did it fit in his car?
No,
Well, that's entirely too
What did he
bad.
do? Did he have to return it?
I don't know yet, but as I investigated further on this topic, I found out the guy really didn't know what it was when he got it. He just noticed it was smaller than a normal clutch, and so he went onto a forum about it, and they're like, "Hey, that might be, yep, that's a Formula One race car clutch." So
So could he like sell it for more money than a regular Model M3 clutch would go for, and therefore like made money on the deal? Or
for instance, I think he paid like $2,000 for a clutch kit.
okay,
And what he,
$2,000?
what, yeah,
it's a BMW clutch kit,
M3,
German engineering.
maybe even more. But so what he got was full carbon fiber,
Ooh,
and it was
got a carbon
priced-
fiber clutch. Eh?
priced at $30,000. So
Damn.
I don't think he can sell that back. I think he might be giving it back.
I don't know, man.
Well, but
He
but
has
if it's-
received the good.
Yeah, if it's Amazon's mistake, can he keep it and then resell it
I
for a
don't know.
profit?
But was it Amazon's mistake, or was it like some Amazon reseller? I mean,
So good question. So the little bit of research I've done points to a lot of Formula One racers use Amazon's fulfillment service for their parts.
interesting.
So they use their computers, their networks, and their customer support separate of Amazon, like the website.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so maybe that they share the same warehouse.
All right.
And
Very
so,
good.
I know fulfillment by Amazon, that's when you are a third-party seller, but you're using Amazon to ship your like you send like a box of your product to Amazon, and they take care of all the shipping stuff. So maybe something like
Basically, renting warehouse space for Amazon, and they do all the work for you.
I think that being as Formula One race car teams probably need parts every day, or maybe on a every other day basis.
Oh yeah.
So they probably have an app for them. But I think it was a matter of a guy in the warehouse grabbing the wrong part off of the shelf. Maybe he was in a hurry and giving it.
Sounds like an Amazon problem to me, and they'll probably
which is cool though. I can't
request
imagine.
it back. But if he refuses, then they're out of luck. Eh?
Yeah, I mean legal action.
Legal action.
Okay, so the second thing I want to talk about, because I am an Elon Musk fanboy.
Old Muskie, what a guy.
Old Muskie. So SpaceX Falcon 9 is they're finally starting with their Block 5 Falcon 9, which what they've been flying is the Block 4s, which is technology from 5 years ago, and it takes them a while to refurbish them.
Mm-hmm.
So this new Block 5 will be able to be used again in 12 hours. It should be able to do at least 100 flights.
Wow.
So like it can land, get refueled, get checked, go back up in 12 hours. Whereas the ones now take a lot of time in the factory to get taken apart and checked out.
Cool.
Very nice. A topic I want to bring up at some future episode, not this one, is space elevators.
Space
Ooh.
elevators.
That'd be kind of a fun one.
Yeah, write that one down.
Yeah.
Space
I wish I
elevators.
had my notebook here, but I don't.
But
Alright.
for today, it's hacking.
For today, it's computer hacking and such. But first, we should take a selfie and promote our stream.
Okay.
Don't look at me like that. You're a vegan.
Do it.
You have no room to talk. All right. Get
Snapchat.
in here, Lance. There. Okay. Go ahead. Start.
Wait, I thought your phone
Computer
was
hack.
broke.
This is my backup one. Snapchat works,
That's it.
and Facebook Messenger works. That's it.
You.
Okay, this is backstory on that. My phone's also broke.
I am the only one here with a phone that is connected to the cell network.
Yeah.
Look at me go.
That works properly. Wow.
Yeah.
You won.
It's had to happen someday.
All right. So computer hacking. Lance, you want to start off?
Okay, you mentioned DDoS hacking. That is when a hacker requisitions a very large amount of computers to hit a website at the same time.
I don't know if requisition is a word.
A requisition is most certainly a word.
It is a word.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Do we need to bring out a dictionary here?
Nope, go for it.
I guarantee you
You
that
have the-
requisition is a
Continue
word.
explaining your
Lance,
DDoS
though,
attack.
you do have the advantage because we cannot fact check with our cell phones. You can. So,
Well, let's
so
stay
you are
in my pocket.
You know the knowledge.
Mine connects to Wi-Fi. I can do it.
All right. So, a hacker will requisition or acquire access to a very large amount of computers and have all of those computers hit a particular website or computer at the same time, overloading the system and causing it to crash. Now, there's a lot of protections in place that prevent
So,
this from happening.
hold on a second. Let's do a little bit of, for the average computer user that might be listening to this. Can you explain it more in more layman's terms?
That was as simple as I was able to get it there.
Simple as you're
Yeah.
able to get it.
Yeah. So basically, it's a
What does DDoS stand for?
distributed denial of service attack.
Okay.
So it's a bunch of computers, zombie computers, that have a virus on them essentially, and there's an attacker that controls them all and basically tells all these computers, hey, send a bunch of garbage traffic to this server. So like when they DDoS'd Twitter, it was a bunch of zombie computers sending just garbage information to Twitter, a bunch of requests over and over that it basically flooded the bandwidth or however you want to say it. It's like if you had a pipe, there's only so
Right.
much water that can flow through that pipe at one time. So they just filled that pipe.
So that's the objective, is to crash them
Yeah.
Just prevent
with
people.
too much traffic.
It doesn't crash it. It just prevents people from being able to.
The pipe
connect
is
to
full.
them.
Okay,
So, you can't add more water to the pipe.
non-robots,
Right.
non-zombie
There you go.
robots.
That's good.
That's-
Right.
okay.
So it's a denial of service. So somebody like you or me can't access Twitter if it's being DDoS'd.
So why would you DDoS a company? And what does that mean for them? Do they have like financial reciprocations from it, or
I think usually DDoS attacks are for
Protests.
Yeah, protesting for activism or hacktivism. That's really a term.
Yeah.
And I think it's mostly like people, like say there's a boycott against the NRA, like there was a while ago. Maybe somebody who is on that idea and supports that decides to DDoS the NRA's website so that people who want to go to the NRA's website can't.
okay? It's a pretty good idea about DDoS attacks. So, what else can we talk about with hacking?
Well,
Everything.
I think the
Let's
the
do
main
it.
thing that we need to cover here is your privacy and why you should be worried.
Privacy, eh?
Privacy.
Privacy. Privacy.
And you make fun of me for talking like a Canadian.
So our privacy. Okay.
Yeah. So, are you worried about your privacy?
I am kind of a realist, and I would say that the internet collectively knows what I'm doing and where I'm at. Actually, right now, it's kind of funny that we're talking about hacking and I don't have my cell phone, because that would be a good way to hack my bank, my email, all of those things. And I don't have that right now, so there's no way for anything like that to happen.
You mean if somebody stole your cell phone?
No, I'm just saying, like, okay, what I was saying is that I'm aware that at any given point in time, people probably find out where I'm at and probably listen to my phone conversations and read my text messages. So I'm not an important person, and I'm not, like, gonna do anything malignant or anything like that. But I know that I'm aware that the capability of hacking me is possible. So
Yeah. Well, I think it's possible to hack anybody, but it's like what you said. It's whether or not you're worth it. You know.
okay.
So it would be worth it to hack Jennifer Lawrence's iCloud account to get her nudes.
Ooh.
Which has happened.
Right.
It's done.
That's
Game
why.
over.
That's why it was my example.
That was like Snapchat, right? Wasn't that like?
I think it was on iCloud.
I'm fairly certain it was an iCloud issue. Yes.
Okay.
But either way, you know.
So that was a couple
Snapchat
years
will-
ago.
Yeah.
The Jennifer Lawrence thing.
Sure. But it makes sense for her to get hacked for those sort of things because she's a celebrity, because people would pay big money for nudes of her, that sort of thing. Or just for blackmail purposes. So maybe, hey, I have your nudes, pay me a bunch of money or it goes out on the internet.
Right. Like if you senator or something,
Right.
political figures.
If somebody hacked your iCloud account and found nudes of you, nobody would probably care.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't.
You're not a celebrity.
There wouldn't be
I'm
a lot
sorry,
of negative
man.
ramifications from that.
Yeah. So I get people, I work in IT and I get a lot of people coming in all the time. I've been hacked. There's a hacker after me, blah, blah, blah. And that's usually not the case because usually.
They've just developed malware on their computer.
Yeah. They have a virus that they picked up from a drive-by download or something random like that. And they think that they've been hacked because.
Their computer is doing funny things.
Yeah. Or sometimes they're delusional. I once had a woman that came in, swore she was being hacked by this very specific guy. And that
Like an ex-boyfriend,
kind
an
of.
angry ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, and I looked up the guy, and she was right on a lot of things. And she was like, this guy, he's hacking me. He's reading my emails, blah, blah, blah. Come to find out, the guy's like 86.
Okay.
And he did have, she said he used to work here and blah, 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 and he used to live here. And I looked him up, and she was right about all that. But the likelihood that I found out that he was happily married, living somewhere else now, and that he was like 80-something years old. And so the likelihood that he was hacking her was very slim. And I tried to explain that to her. But yeah, the likelihood that some random person is going to, like, just you or me is going to get hacked is very low because there's not very much reward for it. Unless there's somebody out for you or...
Like a motive.
right. Or I guess there are certain ways where a normal person would get hacked, like...
Their identity.
yeah, getting your identity stolen
Like your credit card number.
or your credit card number.
So
Scammers,
on
that sort of thing.
on the credit card note, that's something that you would get hacked, but it's just going to be in one of those mass download deals. They're going to collect your information from a website like Amazon or
Okay.
or a less secure website that might have your credit card information,
Yeah.
maybe Netflix or something like that. They're
Okay.
going to get like thousands upon thousands or maybe hundreds of thousands or even millions of credit card numbers.
Okay, so I have a question then.
Yeah.
So, let's say I have a credit card or I like to purchase tickets from Ticketmaster or, let's say I use one of the many popular websites. What is are they pretty vulnerable to attacks like hackers getting my credit card information or my address? What's the vulnerability? Like, what are the odds of something like that?
It really depends on the company and how much they spend on their security. And it also depends on...
So it could be a hacker just being persistent or a group of hackers being persistent.
Sure. So nothing is bulletproof.
Okay.
You can't say this company will never get hacked. You just can't. But you could say that this company's better at their security and more secure than this company over
Okay.
here because they employ certain policies.
Okay, so vulnerability. Weren't you talking about a company that was hacked through a fish tank?
Yeah, that was a
Oh.
casino.
Yeah, yeah, that was really cool. That was actually an Internet of Things device hack. So an Internet of Things devices, something like a
coffee maker or a refrigerator or a thermostat.
Okay, like
Yeah.
a smart thermostat.
Right.
Or
That
there's
connects to
even-
your Wi-Fi.
There's even freaking like smart light bulbs that connect to
Yeah.
your Wi-Fi.
Right.
Okay.
You can clap
Alright.
and turn your light bulb on, and they change colors. This is all
Yeah,
great stuff.
You can be thousands of miles away, and on your phone, click turn the lights on at my house, and they turn on.
Cool. Okay, so fish tank,
Yeah. So I don't.
casino.
I'm fairly certain it was a thermometer in a fish tank that connected to a Wi-Fi that would tell your computer what temperature your fish tank was at, which is great, right?
'Kay.
But an unsecured device inherently
So hackers use that vulnerability and
to
got
gain access to
the
their main network and
Right.
blew it all down from there.
Okay.
So they were able to. There was some sort of vulnerability in the software of that device that they were able to exploit, and then they were able to gain remote access to that device, and then from there they were able to launch attacks inside the network to compromise other devices to gain more access. So that's usually what happens is you to get inside a network, you find the most vulnerable way in.
Like a flash drive or an email.
Right, and that's a very and that goes into social engineering because
That's the subject we'll cover.
yeah, that's the human component is
Social.
social engineering.
Honestly, the human component is probably the weakest link out of the whole bunch.
Right. If I come in and I tell you some sort of sob story about how my resume got ruined and
Or if you're wearing an official looking
So I'm a
shirt.
receptionist.
yeah,
So okay, let's just paint a picture here. I'm a receptionist working at the front desk.
Are you a pretty receptionist?
I'm a beautiful receptionist.
Okay.
Oh,
Even
so
better,
that
yeah.
implies a girl, right? Receptionist, or is that non-gender?
well, I mean, I was assuming girl, but there can be pretty boys
So,
too.
so most of the time, these people aren't the intelligent type. I would say they're hired
I think that's not
to
fair
do
to say.
basic
No, that's definitely
functions.
not fair to say.
That's not fair to say.
Okay,
There's
so-
plenty of receptionists who are very intelligent.
Okay, so if we're talking
But
about vulnerabilities here,
The
like
receptionists are
odds of-
generally very good at paperwork type of
but
tasks.
taking advantage of
and they're
said
not
person.
very good at detailed computer work. They're good at regular computer work,
Okay,
but
so
not
we're-
detailed
Well,
computer
okay,
work.
I think the biggest thing about receptionists is their whole job is to be accommodating and to be good with people.
Yeah. Yep.
So I think in that way you could say
So you
they're
come-
vulnerable,
Vulnerable. Yes. To
but it's part of their job. It's one of those weird, that's
Right.
that's where policy comes into place at companies and that sort of thing. So like a policy might be okay, no matter who it is, no matter what they say, you're not allowed to stick any flash drives in your computer unless it's from internal.
okay. So once again, let's continue painting that picture. So
Okay,
you
okay.
walk into a company and you want to. Okay, just go with that. You walk
So-
into a company.
Say I walk into a company, I want access to their IT room where I can plug in a computer and get administrator access to their network
Okay.
or anything. So I put on a shirt that makes me out to be a maintenance guy
Okay.
and walk in like I own the place and act like I know exactly where I'm going
Okay. Right.
and go there. And
You got a badge.
I get
The hard hat.
I've got a badge. I've got the white hard. It has to be a clean white hard
Of
hat.
course,
and-
we're
and
selling.
Confidence is key.
Yep.
If it looks like you're supposed to be there and you act like you're supposed to be there, and if somebody questions you, you say, "What do you mean? I'm supposed to be here?" Then people will believe it.
Right.
You see it on TV though, like 'cause you just confuse the person with your
Yeah.
your knowledge.
I'm supposed to be here. What do you mean I can't be here? I'm
This
supposed to be
router
here.
number, access, blah blah blah. Start throwing out some jargon that
Yeah, yeah.
confuses them.
Right.
Or just like, what you want your network to be fixed, right? This is important.
Yeah.
Or
You're there for a reason. They called you. You didn't come there.
or you drop the name of an administrator.
Okay.
So and so, who is your boss's boss,
Or
said
you
could-
I'm supposed to be here.
right.
So don't try this at home. We're not liable for actions.
We're not endorsing this.
Right.
We're
Just saying that it can
talking
be
about it.
easily be done.
So if you're so like Lance said, you walk in with an official looking shirt like you're somebody who's supposed to be there. Usually they'll let you in. I mean, more often than you would think, anyway.
Right.
Or let's just say that you figure out who the dumpster company is around town, and you get a shirt with their logo on it, and you wear a hard hat, and you drive up to the gate and you say, "Hey, I'm here to inspect your dumpster."
Who's going to tell you can't?
Yeah.
Whoa! So are we talking about a Wi-Fi enabled dumpster that's
No.
connected that
No, no.
tells you, "Hey, I'm getting full"?
We're talking about people that
Like,
have thrown
hey,
away
call-
paperwork that may say critical
Oh,
Like
information
account
on it.
information,
Right.
all sorts of stuff. Dumpster diving is a good information source. Anyway, or you could walk in. You're the beautiful receptionist, male or female. You know, my preference would be female, of course, because I don't swing the other way.
Right.
We're trying to sway away from any sort of gender here.
Yeah, you have to make a bit of small talk and be a little flirty. I mean, if that's the way you swing, that's the way you swing. But,
No.
Well, you have to have a.
and a sense of humor is key as well.
Swinging implies that you're a male, so let's just
Okay,
not
anyway.
say any sort of genders.
Well, I am a man. So.
No, yeah,
I
of course.
prefer it when my receptionist is
Okay,
male.
we're not talking about we're not talking about gender.
No.
So let's say
this
you're
person.
you're the receptionist. It doesn't matter if you're beautiful or not. I walk in. All right. I walk in and I let's
I am
say-
beautiful, by the way.
Okay. And I
In your
have
own way.
some sort of sob story about, I'm here for an interview.
My
but I-
printer broke.
Yeah, or something, and be like, can you just help me out real quick? And,
Oh, sure.
And here's my resume.
Oh.
Can you print it out real quick?
What is this? A flash drive?
Yeah, it's a flash drive.
Okay, where do I plug it in at?
You stick it in that port.
Okay,
Stick it
just
in
like
that-
this.
Take it in there.
And then you open up some sort of quote unquote
File.
resume. Yeah,
Yeah, you
but
can
it's
you
actually a
can
malicious file.
you can
And
preload
they don't
your,
even. They possibly wouldn't even see the malicious activities happening. Your
Well-
resume would open.
Well, or it would just open up and be blank, and they'd be like, "It's not here," and then you go, "Oh no, I'm screwed."
And then
know?
you run away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you go, "Oh man, I'm so sorry to waste your time. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna try and find somebody to print this off for me real quick. I'll be right back."
Go to
and then
m-
you've compromised their entire network.
yeah.
Okay.
And you can even do it so that you just rewrite the exe for auto run and off you go to the races. You just plug it in and it's too late already.
Unless they have auto run disabled.
Sure, and a lot of people,
Which is a good
a
idea
lot
for
of
them.
corporate places would do that for sure, but some of them might not.
So so the human component is usually the
Weakness.
easiest way. It's a weakness for sure.
And I know there's some
You
very
say it's the largest weakness, the human.
the human element is most assuredly the largest weakness.
Okay.
It's
So-
Vulnerability.
It's at least one of the easiest ways to get information.
Yeah. So talking about flash drives, I mean, there's been several well-documented hacks that have happened because people have literally just dropped flash drives off that had malicious code on them in a parking lot. People got curious, picked it up, plugged into their work computer, and gained access to the network that way. So you don't even have to be a social individual to do
Damn.
that. You can be an antisocial
throwing money
neckbeard
on the
wearing a
ground.
fedora, and you're off to the races.
And there is a name for that, but I forget it, where you just drop a bunch of flash drives in a parking lot and hope somebody picks one up and plugs it into their computer.
Just
Right.
one person is what you would
Does-
hope.
doesn't-
Just one person.
is
You
enough.
just need one person.
What if that one person is like a biotech person for a big company, and
You
like
just got
plugs
their
it into
stuff.
their laptop, which is connected to. So you just
The
got
corporate
into
network.
That's a way in.
Yeah.
by chance. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, and all it takes is one. And that's one of the things is you never want to plug in a flash drive that you don't know where it came from, or anything. You don't want to connect to anything that you don't know where it comes from. You don't want to download anything that doesn't come from a trusted source. You see a lot of those. You go to a website where you download some software, some open source software, or freeware or whatever, and there will be advertisements that look like download buttons, and you accidentally click on the ad, and then you download crapware.
Yeah.
Happens all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
It's really hard to discern these days.
There's like 6 download buttons. Which one do I press?
Well, when you work in the field and
You know.
stuff,
You just
figure
know.
out you get a pretty good BS filter.
Yeah, but the objective of the hackers is to constantly be updating their game
Definitely.
and making their spam better.
My download
advertisements.
button is bigger than their download button, so they're going to press it first.
Right.
Well, and you would be surprised what people fall for. You know those stupid phishing emails that you get that say, "I'm a Nigerian prince and I'm leaving you $95 million"?
The reason they keep doing those is because
They work.
because out of the 200,000 emails they send, they get 2 that work. That send them $3,000 or whatever
Yep.
for transfer fees or however those scams work. It's ridiculous.
So speaking of flash drives, can you tell me anything about the flash drives that are like killer motherboard killers? They like send a surge of power into your.
Yeah, so if you crack one of those open, it's not a normal flash drive. It's basically just a bank of capacitors.
Or one of the
store charge.
I heard you can do it with a capacitor from a disposable camera, the capacitor that handles the flash.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And you just hook it up very
You're just
elementary.
overloading the USB socket with power. That's all you're doing with that.
You're putting more electricity in there than it's supposed to be in there, and it fries stuff.
Basically, on a USB port, you're supposed to receive electricity from that. It's not meant to go the other direction. So
Okay, so
you're
what happens?
You're sending power down the other direction, and it's not good for the components inside the computer.
Well, it goes back and forth a bit, but it's very low voltage.
Yeah.
When you have a big capacitor, it spikes the voltage and the amperage and stuff. It ends up frying things.
On the motherboard
Yeah.
of the computer.
Right.
And sometimes it can be just killing that USB port, and sometimes it can be way more devastating.
Right.
We used to, in middle school, we figured out that if you stuck a paperclip into the front USB ports on the computer, they would reboot. Because
It's just resetting the.
yeah, because it would short something and it would power cycle. It wouldn't. It didn't. Well,
Didn't
I don't know,
really-
It could have damaged something. We were stupid kids, but
And that's why we have technical support in IT these days.
So what do you think about the technical support and IT making everything just throwaway at this point? Why is there no more like component level repair? Except in very rare cases. I mean, there are still a very limited amount of tech support out there that can do component level repair. But
Are you
like Louis Rossman.
sure, yeah.
So what do you mean? Like, are you talking about your phone breaks and you have to replace it, or your hard drive breaks and you have to
I'm more
replace
thinking
it?
like water damage on your computer. It like fried a few capacitors.
Replace
on
the whole
motherboard.
thing
You just
as a-
basically either replace the whole motherboard or replace the entire computer. There are still people out there that are capable of fixing that type of thing. But
Would
if
you say that's proprietary? People just wanting to make their money with you buying a new item from them?
Well, that's the thing is most companies don't even release the technical specs on their boards to even let that happen. You have to acquire that information from like rogue employees.
Well, and that kind of gets into another type of hacking called hardware hacking.
There you go.
Okay.
I'll let you go with that one.
All right, all right. Well,
Elaborate.
I mean, so. I mean, if we could define hacking, it would be. I don't know. What would your definition of hacking be, Nick?
Hacking to me would be access to anything that I'm not allowed to. And so this doesn't clearly pertain to computers. It could be I could hack away into your house. Like I could figure out a way to get in there.
Get through the security system.
Hack, yeah.
So my point is that hacking is not confined to just computers. You can hack other things in your life, like figuring out a way to make your toilet paper dispenser work better.
That's hacking.
Life hacking, yeah.
Life hacks. Oh boy.
It's just being open-minded and an ingenious way to fix or to engineer a solution.
Mm-hmm.
When you hack into something, you're finding a way around.
So like when you peel
firewall.
the safety strip off your lighter and now your lighter works better, is that a hack?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Well, I would say
Okay.
that
I mean,
that's
yeah,
semi-valid.
Sure. All right.
I think that hacking is more making something do something that it wasn't initially intended to do.
Ooh.
There you go.
Okay.
So, like the lighter, you're making it better. I would consider that a hack, sure. It's not a hack in a like computery sense, but you're making it better. You're modifying it to work in a different way than it was intended, and it ends up working better. So you could say that, like modding your car is almost hacking.
Adding extra horsepower,
Yeah.
chipping it, or
Replacing the computer so it can shift at better intervals and
if it's an older car, you can.
remove the upper limit on the speed limit and all that.
Yeah.
Or trying to
Take
get better
vacuum.
fuel mileage or
Yeah.
something like that.
Right.
Yeah, messing with your vacuum.
Yeah, so hardware hacking usually involves creating little devices or modifying your devices to do certain things. So, like a Raspberry Pi or
What is
Arduinos,
that, by the way?
it's like a little computer.
They're very cheap.
So can we compare it to?
but very capable for how cheap they are.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the average person, it would be like a computer the size of a pack of cigarettes that is as capable as like a computer 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
More
Your
like a
smartphone?
computer. I'm more like a computer like 10 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. You can,
But-
Well, my computer's 10 years old.
But you
so
get a
in-
10-year-old computer, and it's still
it's
pretty
still
capable.
good.
Right? Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
still capable.
well, so you can set up a Raspberry Pi to run a full desktop environment and use it as a workstation, like for your grandma who just wants to check her Facebook and her email.
Like make it into her TV.
Yeah. You
Make it a
plug
smart TV.
Yeah, plug it into your TV. Yeah, I have one that I turned into a game emulator that plays Nintendo and Super Nintendo games.
So
It's like the most common use for those things.
on that note, like a Roku, or I have a Super Nintendo. It's basically a Raspberry Pi computer, like smart
Oh,
computers.
did you get the actual Nintendo one? The, like,
Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
I do, and it's as
The
big as
classic?
yeah.
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 And I'm bummed because it has 10, 15 games on it, and
There's a way to add more.
there is, and
That's hacking.
I've done some research, and if you own the games, if you own the cartridges, you can put that on your emulator and not get charged with it or get in trouble criminally.
If you happen to get
Because you
caught,
own
then-
it. It's just like if you have a CD.
That's one of those weird legal gray areas where you could probably get off, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, you can. You can.
Okay.
So you just have to buy it once, and then it's yours. That's
Alright.
the way the law works with that.
But
So you buy a CD, it's your music. You can take one song from that CD and share it with as many people as you want to.
yeah. So, but back to the Raspberry Pi. I would say that
Fair enough.
a Raspberry Pi is a hacking platform
Oh, yeah.
because it has input-output pins on it. It is built. It's a project computer.
It's like a blank slate for you to do with what you want.
Right, and there's all sorts of accessories for it. You can have all sorts of breakout boards. You can add GPS. You can add
Breakout
Wi-Fi.
board?
Yeah,
So it's just adding more
Like a
functionality.
motion sensor?
Sure,
Sure.
you could add a motion sensor.
Like a gyroscope?
yeah, or a motor, or a light, or whatever you wanted. There's all sorts of
Inputs and outputs.
Yeah, there's all sorts of Raspberry Pi projects out there, and that's kind of a basic.
So it's like a brain. Like
Yeah.
a little brain.
It's a
with
chip brain that you
inputs.
can program inputs and outputs to do whatever you want.
That generally hooks to your TV.
Yeah, it's got an
you can plug
HDMI
in a-
output, but
Yeah.
a lot of people don't. A lot of people plug them into like a sound system or something like that, and it's basically their new car sound system that's way better than the stock one that comes with their car for $35.
Okay. All right. So it's just a
And you can-
miniature computer.
Yeah, sure. You
Yeah,
can
it's-
plug a
it's an
USB flash
interesting-
drive into it, and it plays all the music on your USB flash drive instead of the crap that's on the radio these days.
Right. Or whatever. Yeah. I mean, I had an idea that I'm still kind of working on. Basically, it's a kind of a Wi-Fi. Other people have done it, but I'm going to be doing it in a different way. But I don't want to give away everything. But it has a Wi-Fi card and a GPS card on this Raspberry Pi, and it's programmed in a way to where you can drive down the street or walk down the street where it picks up Wi-Fi networks and maps them on a map.
Wow.
Yeah,
And
this
it's
this
just
is this
this
has
little-
been done before.
Yeah,
it's like
it's-
war driving or whatever.
Yeah, it's called war driving.
Mhm.
I have my own spin on it that I'm planning on
So
doing.
you would plan on putting it into random people's cars,
It's all good.
like a taxi driver or a mailman's car,
Well,
without
you-
that person knowing?
Well, no,
or
you
you could technically drive it down the street yourself.
Yeah, and it's passive. There's nothing illegal about it because you're not connecting to networks. You're just
You
passively.
don't want it? Or would you like me to open it?
Yeah, you're just passively collecting information. You're plotting Wi-Fi networks on a map.
Thank you.
So, but that's a project. Or people will turn them into little media centers for their TV that connects to a network share with a bunch of movies and stuff, or Netflix or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's you could turn it into pretty much anything you wanted because you can connect pretty much anything you want to it. And then there's other ones too, not just the Raspberry Pi. There's like the BeagleBone and there's all sorts of Arduinos, that sort of thing.
If you start spending somewhere in the neighborhood of $75, then the processing power on them actually gets really good instead of the $35 one where the processing power isn't really even capable of running like a Nintendo 64.
Yeah, what's that
very
one?
well.
What's that one that's like $120? Has like quad core and it has a little fan on it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what
I don't remember what it's called, but I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's almost like a hacking platform.
Yeah.
Or like, there's this guy named Ben Heck.
Ah, yeah. Very good.
cool.
Yep.
So would
He does
He-
hardware hacking.
He modifies like OG Xboxes and things like
Okay.
that to run in like
I know people like that.
a laptop platform.
oh, okay,
So-
like an emulator for your laptop?
No, it's an
No.
actual Xbox that is turned into a laptop. You can plug a controller into it. Then maybe there's a controller built into
So
it.
you can play
flip it up.
PC
There's
games
a
on there?
screen.
Oh,
No,
what?
No,
It's
no.
literally just an Xbox. It doesn't do anything
That
more
has
than
a screen
an
that
Xbox.
flips up like it's a laptop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's portable.
Yep.
He's made a lot of portable consoles.
Why? Oh, so you can like play in your car.
Yeah.
Or
It's
on
like
an
sit
airplane,
on your
something
lap.
Like that. Yeah.
So like he made a Nintendo 64 portable, where it looks almost like a Game Boy, but it's massive. And he put the
It takes
cartridge
the
into
original
that.
cartridges and everything.
Yeah, and it's an actual Nintendo 64.
Same
With
motherboard.
Yeah, with a screen and integrated controls, and it's massive, but it's a Nintendo 64 that's portable, that's battery powered. So that's hardware hacking.
That's super cool.
It's really
Yeah.
awesome. Yep.
Yeah, and Ben Heck, yeah, you can follow him on Twitter. I don't know what his Twitter handle is, but
Look up his stuff on YouTube, and I'm pretty sure he's got his own blog and everything. It's really cool stuff.
yeah, he's got the Ben Heck Show on YouTube. It's
So
really cool.
we are doing an after show today,
Yes, we are.
Very cool.
and that is,
We're going to be answering viewers' questions and that sort of thing.
and that's for our Patreon subscribers,
Yes,
for which there's a link in our description.
there is.
Wow.
Or there will be. Let me double check if there is.
It will be.
If there's
That's
not,
what
there
he's
are
saying.
on our older videos that you should definitely go
Yeah.
back and watch.
He will hack it. Done.
Yeah, it's not in there at the moment, but it will be.
Wow.
Can I borrow your lighter?
I'm not an Aries, by the way. Which is, the lighter is an Aries lighter. Like your horoscope.
I'm an Aries.
Are you?
I have no idea what I am. I'm
You're an Aries,
probably the same as you, because yeah, we're fairly similar birthdays.
So I
think
kind of
that's kind of.
I want to go off topic for a second. And to segue, I would ask, how do hackers buy things online? How does the average hacker purchase? For what currency does he use?
Usually whatever currency his country uses. Are you trying to get into cryptocurrency?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, well,
So you can buy cryptocurrency in whatever format you want
So-
from any sort of USD or
Okay, so
anything
hackers
else you want.
probably use Bitcoin. Can we say that?
it depends on the transaction.
So are you talking about hackers buying nefarious things or hackers buying legitimate things?
Well, actually, I was just trying to segue here. So I just kind of wanted to bring up a topic about Bitcoin right now.
All right.
And it's something, being as this show is kind of about, this podcast is about just us talking about things. In the past, we've talked about Bitcoin. And Brad has brought up that he thinks at some point we will mine all the Bitcoin.
I think there's that's like pretty dang close to
Yeah,
happening
okay.
already. Yeah.
Okay,
I
so-
saw a news article up the other day that said there were only another 2 million bitcoins to mine or something like that. I don't
Yeah,
know
so
what the
we're-
exact numbers were, but
So the numbers, I was prepared for this, Lance the vegan.
you're better. All right,
Uh,
this is awesome.
So the numbers are there's 17 of 21 million Bitcoins that are already mined. So out of all 21 million total Bitcoin, there's 17 million of that mined currently.
So there's 4 million more to get.
Yeah, which is close to, it could be, very loose. It could be 2 million like you said originally, but like
sure.
I'm saying, we're about to run out. So we've talked about this before, and you said, Brad, that we would eventually run out, and it's looking like that's happening. So what does that mean? Like,
I think that it's going to stabilize then.
so like all of the equations will be proved.
I think you misunderstand how mining works.
So will people be able to mine it, or just be a
No.
constant price stay the same?
The mining is done. The ASIC miners get sold off to people that can mine
So we
Ethereum
get our-
next or whatever.
Our
but
video cards back finally.
Well, no, because there's other cryptocurrencies to be mined. Honestly, hardly anybody actually mines Bitcoin anymore. It's people.
only the people that have what's called ASIC miners can really do that, and they're extremely expensive and take a lot of power to run.
Okay.
And it's most people mine like Ethereum and Litecoin and that sort of thing, and then transfer it into Bitcoin.
So
an
Bitcoin's the
exchange.
motherland.
Right.
Yeah, Bitcoin is like the most popular big.
But
one,
it
the
but
one
it
that's
really
been in the
shouldn't
news.
be.
It's
It's inefficient.
it's more
transaction-
widely accepted for transactions.
The
than-
That is true,
the
yes.
transactions are very expensive though. The transaction fees are quite high when it comes to Bitcoin. Like, doesn't matter if you spend a candy bar's worth of Bitcoin or
no, a candy bar's not worth a Bitcoin.
No.
I think like a 2005 Toyota Camry is worth 1 Bitcoin right now.
Well, but
One Bitcoin is somewhere in the neighborhood of $9,500 right now. But.
Yeah, and what you do is you don't pay in Bitcoins necessarily. You pay in fractions of Bitcoins.
Yeah.
Right. You
So-
can spend 0.000001 of a Bitcoin, and that's like how many
You get a
ever.
candy bar.
Yeah, and that's your candy bar.
Right.
But the transaction fee on buying that candy bar is incredibly high. It's like $20 or whatever to run the transaction.
Okay. To buy that illegal black market candy bar.
Right. which
How is
probably-
it illegal?
Nefarious. No, it's got truffles.
It's a bar.
No. Meth.
So we
Meth is not worth that much money.
bought the Snickers on the Silk Road.
The Snickers, instead of peanuts, it's little chunks of meth.
Of cocaine, maybe might
Cocaine?
make. Yeah,
Cocaine?
I think there's more value.
It's just got all of it.
pure cocaine
Ooh.
with chocolate.
Cocaine's
Has a
I love
ring to
drug.
it.
Cocaine with chocolate.
You know, because the cocoa leaf. and
Yeah.
Yeah, we got you, man.
Inception.
So you want to talk about like things like the Silk Road? I mean, the Silk Road is like the original OG place where people bought nefarious
Well,
things with Bitcoin.
No.
I'm not sure if it's fair to say that that's a place that hackers hang out, though. That's
Right, right.
Oh, I didn't want to say
Yeah.
any of those things. All I
Yeah.
wanted to bring up was the fact that Bitcoin
Is running
has-
out.
Is running out of Bitcoin. So
Okay.
it's like if the Federal Reserve is running out of paper. Am I wrong?
The Federal Reserve is not running out of paper.
I know,
I know
but
what you're saying.
we're in fairy tale land here.
Okay.
We're on a podcast. Anything is possible. We're in
All right.
America.
All right,
Anything is possible.
Yes.
like growing
going
growing
to the
trees.
moon and finding octopuses.
Ooh.
Octopi?
Actually, it's octopuses.
Is it?
Oh
It really
man,
is.
Okay.
We're gonna-
It's octopodes.
we're gonna
Octopods.
take Red Squirrel's word for it now.
Do you want to talk about octopus? Because they are amazing creatures.
Well, we're talking about hackers.
I would say an octopus is a hacker, honestly.
Okay.
Like,
okay,
hack
I'll
your
stop.
way out of a hole the size of a quarter. An octopus can fit through that. If that's not
as
real
long-
life hacking.
So an octopus has a beak, and any hole that's larger than their beak, they can fit through, because that's the only hard part of them, right?
I'm not that much of an expert on octopus.
That's what I've
but
heard.
I
think that's
think
true. Yeah.
octopus are real life hackers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I've seen a video of an octopus that's like this fit into my arms,
Mm-hmm.
fit through the hole the size of a quarter.
Right. It's because the octopus has a beak, and everything else is completely malleable on an octopus. Yeah.
You're right. You're right. But I think that's like a physiological element of it. I'm not talking.
I have more
saying
hard
he's-
surfaces on my body than an octopus.
Yeah.
But he's
I
saying
can't
that
fit
the
through a
octopus-
quarter-size hole.
The octopus can hack its way through.
Can think
Oh.
about that little hole and be like, I'm gonna roll the dice, and that maybe I fit, maybe I don't, but we're gonna try it out.
What happens
and that
if he doesn't fit and
octopus,
he's halfway through? Can he fit back? I mean, can he pull his suckers out and get out the other direction?
you should YouTube some videos of octopus like
I've seen
doing
him.
things.
I know what's
So,
up there.
In some countries, sorry, I'm not done yet.
We're
in,
still
Go
going
for
with
it.
in
octopus.
some countries, it's illegal to operate on an octopus without local anesthesia because it's the understanding that they have feelings. Are you listening to what I'm saying? There's laws that
Damn,
say you
Skippy,
cannot
they have feelings.
that cannot operate on an octopus, but you can operate on a sturgeon or a salmon. But I'm saying octopus without anesthesia.
Wait. Who would operate on a salmon or a sturgeon? Usually, you just cut them open and eat them.
They're
There would
delicious.
be plenty of operations for like artificial insemination, or maybe they're just testing it for genetic.
But if you wanted
Material.
to inseminate eggs, wouldn't you just wait till they laid them and then?
Or just pull them
I mean,
out and
I'm
use them for
asking
bait
'cause I don't
because
know.
that's what you do with salmon eggs.
What? Oh, use them as bait.
Yeah.
Well, with my
Caviar. That's sturgeon, right?
No.
Whichever, it doesn't matter. But if you want to catch good salmon, you catch a salmon that's a female that's about to lay eggs. You cut her open, you get all her eggs,
And throw
you
'em in
stick
the
them on
water.
your hook and throw it in the water. You'll catch
Yeah.
another salmon. That's just how it works. It's amazing.
That's pretty brutal.
Yeah,
Okay, sorry.
it's a
Continue with
rough
your-
world for fish.
and
There-
Skippy.
But you have to use anesthesia to work on an octopus.
An octopus in the United Kingdom. In parts of Europe, it's a law, recognized law, where you have to. Okay, anyway, so I'm just saying, like, there's sentience, there's intelligence, there's feelings. that octopus have.
So would you say are
And I'm also saying they're hackers.
okay because
Wow.
they can hack their way through holes?
Yep.
Okay.
100%.
So
Camouflage themselves.
yeah. So they're like nature hackers.
Nature hackers.
All
Should
right,
make
all
a
right.
T-shirt.
Well, yeah, okay, with an octopus.
Yeah, the original, the OG nature hacker
And it's like in space.
Does it have 8
With-
slave holes?
with SpaceX on there and like a Falcon.
Just a picture
So-
of old Muskie on the shoulder?
What size of a spaceship would an octopus fly in? Because since it can squeeze in, would it make it really efficient and work in like a really tiny space?
Do you think you need more than one octopus to get anything
We're talking
accomplished?
about octopuses
Why
flying
would you
into
need
space
more
now?
than one?
Because they're nature's hackers.
Okay.
So I think you need just one.
One octopus?
Yeah, I don't think you need more than one. I think one could handle. So if we got a group of octopus, they would turn into like a super power artificial intelligence and take over the world, I think.
So
Okay.
like interconnected, like
Yeah.
they hold tentacles, or just like they would.
The
have-
technology has not been developed yet
Okay.
or made public.
What I'm saying is, would they like? I don't know. Would they just hold meetings like hear ye? Today we're going to space.
I don't know how they communicate. I don't think they need to touch to communicate.
So do they
So,
steal
like-
old Muskie's rocket, or do they make their own?
I would say they steal Muskie's rocket because Muskie's rocket.
It's spot on.
prime
They
time.
got Block 5
Then they can-
engines now. They can
Yeah.
just go. Okay, all right.
All right.
So we got octopuses in space. You've heard it all here. You hear it here first. It's
Well,
happened.
I
Yep.
think we heard the octopuses in space in the first episode.
I don't remember that. I might have been drunk. 10 minutes?
Well, yes, or so.
We got to fill up another 10 minutes of this.
Oh
We
well.
should get back to hacking.
Okay, but can I bring something else up about our current events?
Yeah,
Sure,
absolutely.
does it have to do with hacking?
Nope.
Oh man, that's okay.
Yes. Yeah, they're hacking humans into space.
Well, okay, explain.
Explain.
Hacking
okay.
them into pieces and then putting them in space.
That would be the most efficient.
Okay.
We're
Ground
not talking
beef.
about that kind of hacking.
Oh, okay.
We're not talking about Dexter hacking.
We sent cows up into space. We sent some ground beef.
Wait, did we really?
I guarantee.
I don't know.
I guarantee you that we've sent ground beef to space.
Okay,
Because
so
astronauts need to eat too.
so one of the things about the new Block 5 Falcon 9 is that they're trying to get on par with NASA's requirements for flying humans into space.
Okay.
Okay, so I did a lot of research. I'm very interested in Old Muskie, and so the research says that in order for a human to fly on a spacecraft, the odds are 1 in 500 that it'll be successful.
For humans flying on rockets?
Yes.
Okay.
So that
So
means
he's got to send the sucker up 500
500 times. Yep.
before he can stick a human on it.
Yep. And
Or does he have to stick humans on it?
And that's only- that's
until-
only-
and they
that's
all
only-
die?
500 for entry and ascending.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
For coming up and coming down. For using like the main purpose of a rocket is the propulsion system. So the
Did they launch the shuttle 500 times before they started putting people on it?
So I will get to that, but the
Alright.
overall has to be 1 in 250 for like it operating in space. It like generally operating is 250.
So it's got to work.
1 in 250 times. It has to
100
go up into space.
It has to work
500
149 times and fail once.
Yeah. So
And
the
if
thing
it fails
is,
twice, they're screwed. They can't send people.
the thing is that the Discovery program was their actual odds was 1 in 12.
Really? Because they didn't do enough testing?
One
So
out of
that's
every
the
12.
space shuttle.
Like actual odds of the space shuttle was 1 in 12.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing they did 24, and a couple of them. I don't want to be insensitive to the subject or whatever.
People
But
died.
so the reason people died. We need like a button we push that music happens.
And then it does the... No, that's not appropriate.
People died.
So my
man.
point,
Yeah.
I'm coming to my point. So what happens when a Falcon 9 goes to lift off for 30 seconds? So T minus 30 seconds to lift off. Their tanks are filled with super chilled kerosene and oxygen and propellant.
Rocket fuel.
Rocket fuel, which is deadly. And so
If it explodes, the whole thing blows up, including the people.
So, if we're not talking about people here, we're sending cargo up into space, which
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter. So, the way that they finally engineered this Block 5 is for it to be the most efficient as possible and like thrust the most payload, which means that they super chill all these ingredients that go into the tank.
Okay.
For 30 seconds before it lifts off, it's in there and is dangerous. If there's a spark or something and humans are on there, it'll go boom.
It goes boom. Humans are gone.
Yeah, so they static fire a test of the rocket. A static fire means that it's not lifting off and there's no cargo attached. It's just a dry run. So
Yep.
they dry run this Block 5, and it's going to go off next weekend or very soon, and it's going to take up a Bangladesh satellite
Cool.
for like broadband and stuff.
Awesome.
But it's the very first Block 5. So we're going to see, I think, like, this is where SpaceX and old Muskie will finally make money and not have to refurbish the rocket so long and just like move on to, because he said that once he gets it down, he's going to stop making it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's going to have that Block 5 forever and be his workhorse, make the money so that he can build his big Falcon rocket,
Yeah.
which is for interplanetary travel
Right.
to Mars.
So, do you think that SpaceX has a good security team and that they're pretty secure? Or do you
As
think
far as hacking,
Yeah.
yeah,
that's the government.
No, it's not.
So yeah, I think so.
well, SpaceX isn't the government.
Okay,
they're
or-
contracted by the government.
Okay.
Recently in the news,
So pause for a second.
Tesla fired a decent amount of their contractors.
Yeah.
You hear about this?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's an interesting story.
Happened on Monday. It's just like,
And
you
that's a
don't
very
work here
interesting
anymore
story.
because you weren't efficient.
But so if you're going to work with the government, you have to meet a certain strict standard for your own security to
Gotta-
work with the government.
Everybody on the whole operation has to pass background checks.
Yeah,
and
background
normal
checks
yeah.
for the people. So if you're going to hack SpaceX, then that's why I'm saying you're pretty much hacking the government.
Okay. I kind of get what you're saying.
Because if you can get past SpaceX, then you should be able to get past the government, which I think the government would be less lax because they're government funded, whereas SpaceX is private
Well,
corporation.
can I say that, I mean, I used to work for a local government institution, and let me tell you that their security is not as good as you think.
I agree. I 100% agree. You just walk in there and look at their computers.
Yeah, well, I would say that more often than not, private corporations have better security than government.
Okay, so would you call a local government like an average citizen with information not worthy of hacking? Like, I'm not worthy of being hacked as an individual because I'm not on the scale of Elon Musk or Jennifer Lawrence. So, like, our local government would be like an average Joe, and maybe
No. I'm
our
talking
city capital would be Jennifer Lawrence.
No, I think that it would be worth it to hack like a local, like our city. If you were to able to hack that, there's all sorts of criminal records. There's all sorts of personal records that you could take from that. You could control certain infrastructure, maybe. If you were to hack certain
the city of
infrastructure.
X has the information for everybody's property taxes, has the information for everybody's
Some social security numbers
information.
attached.
I mean, any city bills that you've got, so like city takes care of most people's water, sewer, garbage. So you're going to have credit card information from that on
and
file.
addresses for people.
And addresses for everyone in the entire freaking town.
You don't think that's all on a cloud right now, or you think they still do paperwork?
No, that's computerized for sure because you can pay your water bill online.
Yeah, definitely. They might have paper copies as well, but again, that's another security risk
Well-
if they shred if they don't shred stuff and they just throw it out.
Well,
And
see, that's what I'm thinking about with a local government.
If your
that-
city is like less than like 50,000 people, you can pretty well guarantee that the security is not as good as, let's say, like Seattle, Washington.
Right. So, yeah, right.
So the city of Seattle, Washington, probably has some pretty dang good security. I wouldn't know; I've never seen it. But city of X with 30,000 people living in it, not quite so good.
Would be more valuable to a hacker with more people's information.
There's still 30,000 people's worth of information that you can get.
Well, but it also depends. So if you were able to hack a local government, that might lead to a bigger government.
like practicing, like the minor leagues of hacking. You got to warm up.
Well,
Maybe a local government has access to some bigger local governments' websites.
So maybe our maybe our local government for our town has access to.
We could
certain
beat
records.
the vulnerability to get into like the NSA.
Yeah, but over many hops.
I'd take quite a few hops.
Sure,
But being as you're a hacker, you're
Right.
designing programs to get around the obstacles,
Yes.
up and over.
so we could be the weak point, is what I'm saying. A small. It's usually something that people don't pay attention to is the weak point, because people think, who would use that? Like the thermostat in the freaking fish tank. That's the last thing on their minds. Oh, we need to make sure that this is secure because somebody's going to hack it.
They're
and get
probably
into this network.
what they're focused on is energy savings, because the guy who sold them the thermostat is saying that you're going to be more efficient with your energy because it's regulated by a program. They weren't even thinking about security.
They were thinking
Right.
about saving the fish.
Saving the fish.
Right. Well,
Maybe it feeds them too.
Well, but even like at your house. So if I think most people would agree that it's a good idea to have a password on your Wi-Fi. That's just that's a good idea. So people don't steal your internet. So people don't watch what you're doing.
Because it's expensive too.
Well, that too. But
Less traffic makes
But if-
better
See,
internet.
here's the
if I gave
thing,
you-
though.
If I give you a Wi-Fi thermostat, you're like, wow, this is a cool device. The last thing on your mind is thinking about, well, how secure is this?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's fairly easy to hack those things. I mean, for my particular work, I actually installed those things, and they're extremely easy to get into, even after they've been set up, even properly set up.
Definitely. Well, and there's certain. Oftentimes, people will set up things and not change the default password, and that's usually the easiest way in
Right.
because people
Most of the,
misconfigure things.
probably 50% of the time, people will accept the password given to them.
I would say, as far as average Joe, normal.
We could do a
whatever-
survey on Twitter.
Well, here's the thing. Like, a lot
We
of
should
people
do a
buy
survey on Twitter.
I don't know if
Netgear.
people want to admit that. but-
I would say the Netgear routers are probably the most popular ones out there right now.
Yeah.
And every Netgear router that you buy nowadays comes with a pre-generated, fairly good password by default.
Well, like WEP encryption.
No,
No,
WPA2 at least, for sure.
Yeah. WEP has gone to the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
To the dinosaurs.
Thankfully.
I'm
Yeah.
just showing my
Occasionally-
ignorance here.
Occasionally
Extremely-
you still see it.
Extremely easy to hack WEP passwords, in case you were wondering. If you still have a WEP,
You need to call your cable provider. And
no, you can just do it yourself. Just Google it.
Yeah.
But it literally takes somebody with very limited knowledge about 2 minutes to hack into a WEP secured network.
Right. The WPA is a lot harder, but it's still possible. The what's I gonna say? Yeah. So, but things like access to your router, like the default configuration username and password, usually people don't change that. And
So if
usually
you
it's
get
something
access
very common.
to the network,
Yeah.
you can sign into a lot of routers using the username of admin and the password of password.
Okay.
Or,
Okay.
or if you don't put a password on your Wi-Fi at all, then you can. Oh, I connect to this
Okay, so-
coffee shop's Wi-Fi, and I can change their Wi-Fi name to "Your Mom Sucks."
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So what about our phones? So there was a recent, not very recent, maybe a year ago, where the FBI was trying to get into someone's iPhone, and they
Right.
were trying to tell Apple to unlock this iPhone, and it was a civil rights case because that's our property.
Right.
And it ends up being that you have to make a program that like physically pushes the buttons of all the combinations of all the numbers to an iPhone. It's like a robot that sits on top of your iPhone that pushes all the combinations until it gets it right
Well,
There's
for you
trillions.
to actually get into an iPhone.
but that's
But that's good though.
No.
I'm saying that's
not how it works. You can.
what they were saying.
You can do that software.
Because they couldn't. Apple would not give them access to the phone.
They wouldn't give them a
So they were-
backdoor built in.
They wouldn't. Yeah, so they wouldn't give them that back door. So they were hiring hackers to figure out the best way to get into iPhones. And the best way they could find is manually pushing in combinations of numbers
Well,
by a person, so they made a robot to do it.
But that wouldn't work because on iPhones, after you type it in like 10 times wrong, it bricks the phone.
It's 5 times, and that's a setting you have to push on your phone. You can make that a setting where it turns your phone into a brick. Most people don't do that, though.
But I'm pretty sure by default that there's some sort of setting lock because I get people all the time coming to me saying, I forgot my password, typed it in.
It's
5
not
times, and
default.
It's wrong.
It's not a default.
I'm pretty sure it times out So what it does is if you type it in wrong 5 times, you have a cooldown timer of X amount of minutes. If you do it wrong again another 5 times, it doubles that time and it keeps on going. So there's some people out there that have an iPhone that's literally bricked for years upon years because they've had the wrong password typed in by a baby 500 times.
Oh, a baby.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
I've seen that before. I've witnessed that. with
Well,
own
my
eyes.
point is that iPhones are secure as far as your passcode to get into it.
But they got Jennifer Lawrence's nudes.
That was not, as you say, that was connected to the iCloud, which is
an
not
Apple product.
an Apple product, correct? But that's not actually stealing
Your
her phone.
iPhone is backed up to the iCloud.
Sure, but I
Tomato,
get what you're saying.
tomato.
It's
Yeah.
not actually her phone. They didn't steal her phone to get access, as far as I know. Anyway, that's about all the time we have for today.
Catch us on the after show.
Yeah, we're gonna do an after show. That's for Patreon patrons, and that'll be up on Patreon.
I have a quote to end the show.
All right.
Oh, this is going to be great.
Sign us off. Give us the outro. Give us the quote.
The quote is, this is Rick Rubin, "We find our true voice through experimentation."
Wow.
All right. Well, I think that's a good note to end on. Thank you for watching. Oh, bless you.
I've been blessed twice this day.
Much love.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for watching.
Toodles.
Follow us on Twitter and stuff.
After
Bye.
show.
Ooh, yeah.
Cue the non